Hi guys, it's Brad here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm kind of addicted to clan gen right now, and I started watching this really awesome YouTuber named Sunrise Star, and she does these speed paint challenges with the game. So it's not actually gameplay, it's just her talking about like a year at a time, and she draws them. And she does like horse versions and dog versions, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So first I'm shouting her out, and then I was inspired to try to make my own. However, I don't really know if I have the time or energy to do something big like cats or, horses. So I kind of joked about doing worms. And then I kept joking about how the other clans could be like snails or moths or frogs, and it kind of spiraled into worm clans. So what started as a joke, I'm very, very dedicated to Worm Clan, and I think you guys will be too. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the society of Worm Clan, or just the worm society in general. So there's a king worm, and this is the oldest male. Usually he's like the wisest, the most experienced. He's the king, and then he gets to pick his mate, who is the queen, who is deputy, but it's just like queen to him, and it's whatever lady he likes the most. The queen is the only one allowed to have babies grow up in the clan. If other worms are to have any babies, their babies have to leave once they become an adult. There's also elder worms that, respected, yada, yada, yada. And then we have three different types of warriors. So there's the warrior worms, and these guys go out and hunt. They always have to hunt no matter what. Scouts are ones that can kind of be anything. They can help other people. There's usually not many. There is the tunnelers, and these ones are the ones that do border patrol, and they're a little bit more, sometimes can be more aggressive. And then the medicine cat is a caretaker worm, and she's the one, that takes care of the sick. And then we also have apprentices, but in this society, the apprentices are always trained by the king and queen, and only if they're taken, if they have too many kids, then they'll be given to the caretaker or maybe a mediator, etc. So without further ado, let's meet Mr. King. Alright, so this is King Dirt. Leading the group is no easy job, and it's usually put on the eldest male worm. That was Dirt. He is very adventurous and a very good teacher, so a good foundation. He starts to worry about the future worm babies, his, little colony clan group. I've been calling it group, but we might change it. Because him and his Queen Day, keep arguing on how to raise them. And that was kind of a big piece of conflict. He doesn't actually like her that much, but he likes her more than anybody else. So, as time goes on, if he starts to like another worm, then she will be ousted from the queen position. The new female will take it. Her babies, I think, still stay because they're his babies, but it's dramatic. So not soon long after, Queen does get pregnant, which is awesome. And she ends up having 2 boys, and he really, really loves his sons. He worries a lot when they get sick. He also, towards the end of the year, he hurts himself, and then at that same time, Mallow, who is a local snail colony, decides to declare war on them, which is very stressful, because at the very end of the year, the last moon, he finds out that Queen Day is pregnant again. So he's kinda going through it, and that is Mr. King Dirt. So let's go ahead and meet his queen. Miss Queen Day has always had a crush on Dirt, and she was really, really thrilled to be chosen as his queen, vowing to give him lots of strong worms for the clan. She was really worried at first and really paranoid about having like haters. Because this is a really coveted role, and other, worms could try to like take it out on her and try to take her place as queen. So she doesn't really have a lot of friends. She's very much just kind of watching her back. She's overjoyed when she finally knows that the first, I don't want to say litter, but the first, babies are on the way. She really wants to be able to prove to the group that she is the best fit for queen. When her 2 sons are born, she loves them and adores them, beaming with pride, and is very excited because as they get older throughout the year, at the very end, she actually is expecting more, and we don't know how many or the genders or anything. So hopefully in the next year, we will find out, how many more worm babies there are. And I can't wait to meet the worm babies. They're kind of at the end, although I guess we could just skip to them. They're very cute. Let's skip to the worm babies. Okay, so Little Twig and Little Spore are so cute. They're both little boys, little brothers. Little Twig is like the brown one. He's seen very much as like a perfect worm. He said he was very charming when he was a kitten, which is very funny. He loves to annoy older cats. He's very entitled. He likes to play fight and really wants attention. And so he is the son that actually gets chosen to train under his father, King Dirt. So that's cool. I really like him. And in kind of exact contrast is his brother, Little Spore, who is gray and very shy, would rather just make peace. Can tell that they were probably kind of bullied by their brother, which is unfortunate. They're very cautious, and they are training under their mother, Queen Day, which is going really well. He seems kind of lonely, but really good at hunting. So hopefully, I kind of want to make it to where the children's babies can keep having babies as long as it's like the royal blood. I think that's kind of fun. So like these 2 sons could both eventually have mates and do it like that. Yeah, I think we'll do it kind of like royalty since we're already going with the theme of that. So that's these 2, and hopefully they're gonna have little siblings soon. Very excited. Let's move on to the medicine cat, quote unquote, Caretaker Gloom. So Caretaker Gloom is definitely a weird one. She is like this grayish blue hue. She's often lost in thoughts and always comes off kind of sad, which I think is where her name comes from, but tends to honestly be speaking with the great worms below, which are the ancestors, that have dug holes way below, and kind of like that's what she believes in. She asks them for wisdom. Anytime another worm tries to speak and say that they understand the great worms below, she'll scoff and make them feel bad. I believe it was actually Warrior Stone that happened to. Towards the end of the year, she's going out to get herbs, and she mistakes a normal berry for a poison berry and gets poisoned. She recovers, but becomes very weak, and I thought that was just crazy because she's the one that's supposed to know this and ended up getting poisoned. So that was kind of stressful, but that's okay. She's, she also really likes gossiping with the other cats, or not other cats, the other worms, which we'll get into later. It's very cute. Next, let's go on to some of the warriors. Warrior Stone tends to be more hot-headed and aggressive. He really doesn't want to spend much time with the group and would rather be out hunting for food. He was given a gift, I'm pretty sure by Warrior Fire, which those 2 kind of have I think a little thing going on. Some moldy raspberries as a gift, and so he rubs it on himself daily. And yeah, he's, kind of just keeps his head down. Nothing much has really happened with him yet. So let's move on to Warrior Fire. She's very sassy, entitled. She gets really jealous when other worms are praised by the king, King Dirt. She, I think, has a crush on him. It's kind of like every girl's dream, I think, to be the queen in this type of society. She's very clever. She considers herself to be one of the fastest worms, which is very funny. Seeing the queen have kits makes her even more jealous of the position. I'm personally kind of worried that she might try to have some babies with Warrior Stone and then them have to get exiled when they're older. That would make me so sad. That would be pretty crazy. So those are the two warriors that go out and hunt. Next is Scout Seed. So she is so cute, kind of reminds me of a cow, a very calm female who does not really like violence and would much rather travel on land and look at flowers. She manages to find a new tunnel, but it turns out that it leads to a rocky dead end, and a lot of the other worms gossiped about it for a few weeks and made her feel kind of nervous. Unfortunately, towards the end of the month, she was found dead on a border near Mallow Clan, which is the Snail Clan. Snails were supposed to be peaceful with us, but I guess something happened. Very scary, kind of foreboding. Things, definitely got hostile towards the end. I mean, it was considered declared war. So rest in peace, Scout Seed. You will very much be missed. Next is Tunneler Leaf. So she secretly confesses to Caretaker Gloom that she wants to be queen someday, but worries that will never happen for her. On a border trip one time, she bumps into a feral, sick zombie worm that gets ooze on her. And over time, she starts to feel really sick. And everyone was worried that she was going to become a zombie as well, but she manages to survive, thank goodness. But it definitely makes her more hesitant to outsiders. Next is one of my favorites. This is little apprentice Rain, who ends up becoming Scout Rain. He was taken in by his teacher, Queen Day, who became a mother figure to him when he was an orphan. King Dirt took a bit to warm up to him, but Apprentice Rain was very active and tends to be kind of more morbid in its curiosity, would actually go out finding food that had been dead for a long time and decomposed. He was very proud to be picked to become the next scout, even though it was because Scout Seed died. I think there's usually only one scout at a time. So yeah, that opened up around the same time that he was becoming an apprentice. But he's happy to help anyway, so he really didn't mind. This is where it takes a sad turn. Later in the year, on a border trip, he ran into a very angry red ant that bit his tail, causing it to be kind of scrungly, which isn't the worst thing. But then, not too long after, he was on a trip with Tunneler Leaf, and they spot a snail from Mallow, and they kind of confront them like, what are you doing on our territory? And then out of nowhere, a spider kills him and grabs him and runs away, and it's traumatizing. I think that Tunneler Leaf was actually starting to become friends with him, so it was very sad. I think that Scout probably has a reputation for being one of the more dangerous roles. Yeah, rest in peace. I'll miss this little worm. Next is the only elder, which is Elder Stripe. She loves to gossip. I really like this worm. She's very cute. She really likes to gossip with Caretaker Gloom. She likes to gossip with Queen Day, especially after she fights with the king. She finds it very entertaining to know like what's happening throughout the group, and is very old, but you know, is still hanging in there. She's very cute. Next we have a stranger. So during some of the travels for King and Queen, they found an injured strange worm, not one they had ever met before. And with the loss of Scout Seed and a Scout Rain, they kind of hesitantly accepted the outsider. I think specifically this group is just more hesitant. The outsider had a little like string on his neck, but I kind of like to think of it as one of those like bread twist ties for some reason, you know. He was very sick, and sadly he died to a sickness, even though they had tried their best to heal him, and it was very sad. So he didn't last long, but they did take him in, so I wanted to include him. Rest in peace. And then at the very end of the year, something kind of crazy happened. The king and queen were out again, and they found another injured worm, but this time it was actually a past, like, caretaker. Wasn't a part of any specific group, but would just heal people on her travels. Her name was Borage, so they invited her in, healed her, and she offered to be another one of their caretakers. And it ended up working out really well. Her personality is very childish. She really likes the younger ones and telling them stories from her travels, which is very cute. And that's currently everybody. So, this video is probably a little bit on the shorter side. I imagine as the worm colony grows, it'll be longer, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this will be a fun little story to continue. The worms, are really fun and silly to draw. Over time, though, I think I'm kind of like getting better, slowly figuring out like a style that I really like and enjoyed. And if you guys want to make any worm OCs, tell me about them, because now I'm invested. Or if you do this challenge with like any other animals, please feel free to comment below and tell me, because I love that. And if you like this, subscribe. It helps the channel. And leave a like. Go subscribe to the original person I linked, Sunrise. Really good stuff. And I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.